Here we go. Alexander, redacta urbe, ablative absolute, having reduced or brought this city into his dictionem, into his power, he entered the temple of Jupiter, of Jove. The vehicle in which Gordius, the father of Midas, it is agreed, constabat vectimus, had been carried on, he aspected it. He saw this vehicle, and sane, clearly, it was not in cultu and its extravagance or something. It was not abhorrence or that different from that in use nowadays, I'm guessing, from those viloribus, from the cheap ones, and the commonly used ones, the vulgatisque ones. Notable erat yugum. So the yugum was very notable or noticeable. This is also used for ridges of mountains, but here it means the yoke, the two humps would be ridges, and on the back of an ox or something, it would just be a yoke. With many compluribus notice, with many knots, this yoke was ad strictum, it was tied. And in semotipsos, you take that as like a pronoun really, into itself, it was implicated, it was tied up in many implicated knots, and with the nexus, the actual seeing bit of the knot was calantibus. It was you couldn't actually see where it was, where the knot was. So deinde then, the incolus ad firma antibusing, another ablative absolute. So the incolas, or the inhabitants, they were affirming that by an oracle had produced this sortam, which is a lot or prophecy. Here's a future, potiturum. So there would be the power over Asia for qui, he who could solve this inexplicable vinculum, this intractable knot sort of thing. So a cupido, a desire incessant, came into the animo, into the mind of Alexander, I'm guessing, of explending, of unrolling this prophecy. Sortis again would be the prophecy. Circa the regem, round the king, Urat, there was a turba. It's a crowd, as you can see it's a singular, of Phrygians and of Macedonians, Macedonian nuts. That would be Alexander's men. The illa and the hake, these are correlatives, so the illa would be these Phrygians. They were in suspense of the explication or the solving of this knot being unravelled. And hake, the Macedonians, they were solicitor, they were anxious from the tememaria fiducia, from this rash confidence of their genitive king. Since there was a series of vinculorums, of these tyings, these knots that were itas ad stricta, that were tied fast, ita ut, correlatives again, so that from where the knot inciperated, from where it began, quove, that's enclitic means or for where it hid itself, where the knot itself was hidden, neither by reasoning nor in sight, by sight, was it able to be perspicued, to be able to be seen. Ad gressus solvere. So he began to attack it, to solve it, you might want to say. He went up to it, and it's injecurated. This threw in a lot of cura, care or worry. Lest, there's the nay, it should, in irritums, which means if it was invade, this should be turned into a omen in septum, the beginning of an omen, or ill-omened thing would happen if he wasn't able to solve it. He, Alexander, I think that's got to be a typo. The I means in vain. So he lactatus. Alexander wrestled with it for a long time, DIU, but it was in vain. With the latentibus notice, with these hidden knots. And then he inquired, he said, nothing of interest, no difference it makes in quo modo how it is solved. With his gladio, with his sword, having a ruptus or broken the loris of omnibus. Lorises are usually like a leather strap, so it'd be the rope itself tying up in the knots. And omnibus is all of them. So having broke all of these things that are holding it together, the strings of the knot. So either he could lose it, which is playfully made a mock of this lot of the oracle, or he implicated, or he filled the sortem of the oracle, the lot of the oracle. So then, when Darius ubicum quiescet, wherever the hell he was, Alexander decided to occupy him, to catch up with him, I'm guessing, and confront him with a purpose, so that he would reliquate, he would leave a tergo behind him, everything would be safe. The land would be safe after he'd taken care of Darius. Looks like to the fleet, Amphoterum, for the shores of the Hellespont, and however, moreover, he prefected, he put this other guy, Helicom, in charge of his land forces. So Clarside beat fleet with this guy, and Heliochum was in charge of the land forces. We've got a list of places. Lesbos and Chios and Kos would be liberated by putting these two guys in charge. These garrisons, Praesidius of the hostibuses of the enemy. Here's Talenta. So to these, or with these, talents, these are a kind of coin. For use in the war, he gave out to these 500 talents for use in war. To Antipatrum and Eos, and those who were to Tuabantor, to guard over the Gracchus herbs, the Greek cities, he sent 600. So this one's written out, and this one's used in Roman numerals. From this federation or treaty, naves are ships. So something was ordered, looks to be Sokis, to these allies. They were ordered to produce ships, I'm guessing, which would praise Sidorant, which would guard the Hellespont. Fair enough. And Amnondum, for he had not yet cogniverated, he had not yet known that the life of Memnon existed, so that this guy's life had left him. So he died, in other words. Into whom, towards this guy, he had intended all these cares, or he had aimed, or he was the guy who was intent on defeating. Satisfactorily Gnaris, which means he knew in the future, everything would be in this expedition, in this military expedition, if nothing from this guy Moveretot was moved. So in English, you might want to say, didn't know this guy had died, who had been putting all these expectations on, because he knew he was expecting that there would be a problem with this guy if he made a move on him. Yamqui, and now Ventumirat. They'd come to the Urbam Ancria, where, having entered into the numbers of his forces, of his copia, so he counted up all his forces, he'd entered flag, whatever the hell that is. Huic. To this was joined the Hanetai, from where Quidam, certain people, Cretan, believe the Venetai drag their origin, or draw their origin from these people. So the Hanetai, what's that in English? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the Hanetai and the Venetai. There you go. Omnis hac regio. All this region, parawitted, obeyed the deity of the king. Ablative absolute, having given hostages, obsidiabuses, the tribute that ne quidam, not even they had too listened for the Persians, they'd not even give them tribute for the Persians, impetravanted, so they obtained this, and they weren't cognomented, they weren't forced to pay it. So looks like they used their hostages rather than tribute. Anyway, Callus was praepositadest. He was put in charge of this deity, of this region. Assumptusque, having assumptus, having taken up those who Nupa recently had venerated, had come up or turned up from Macedonia, he now petited Cappadocia, he now sought there. Chapter 2. But Darius, Nuntiata Morte Memnonus, with the death announced of Memnon, horde seekers quam, not differently then, or the same as, was par or normal. He was moved, motus, having omissa omni alia spe, putting aside all other hope. He now statuted, he decided that he himself would decide or do combat. Quippy, since through his generals, the things which had been acted out or done, he damnated cunked all of them. So he condemned all of these things which his generals had done. And he ratusest, he was thinking to most of them, cura, their care, fuisi was away, not there, and fortune. So any care in what they were doing or any right done duties in fortune itself, these are all away from omnibus, from all of them. Vigator. So therefore then, castris positus, with his camps positioned near Babylon, ad Babylonia, and we have comparative here with quo, so that he could take to this war with more animo, more courage or something you might want to say. He deaded it. He gave into sight, he put into sight universus viris, all of his men, so they could be seen, and with a rampart circumdadoed, with a rampart all around, that could caper it, which could hold or take a multitude of decimilia armatum, of 10,000 armed men, like the example of Xerxes. He entered again. Second time I've seen that. He entered these number of forces, so he must have counted them up again. Actually, I think it was Alexander who did it a minute ago. Now Darius is doing it. So in one of the translation, there's only one I there instead of double I. Anyway, Daily Dictionary, inio, inivi, to begin, to enter upon, to go in, to undertake. And with concilium can mean form a plan, top 2,000 words. So you might want to say begin to count them, even if you want to really push it. Anyway, with this, from the sun arising, the auto solo, to night time. Ag minor, these are columns, near the plural, as they've been descriptor oriented, as they've been told to or described to do it. They introvariated, they entered inside this rampart, and then were emissa, and then sent out. They occupied the Campos Mesopotamia, the plains of Mesopotamia, equitum and peditum, of horses and of foot soldiers, propimotum, which is an almost innumerable turba, a nearly uncountable crowd, which maiorem was ferens speciem, so it was bearing the appearance of more than what there was pro numero, than what there actually was. Done. Of the Persians, there was 100,000, in which there was 30,000 horses implebating it, filling it up, and of the Medes, there was 10,000 equitums of horsemen and quadriginta of foot soldiers.